Welcome to this demo class on object-oriented programming. Myself N. Karthikeyan, Assistant Professor, Department of CSC, Government College of Engineering, Singapore, Shabu. So in this video, I'm going to explain the concept of object cloning. So object cloning is the process of copying the value of instance values from one object into another object without copying its reference. So we know that whenever we are going to assign one object into that another object, normally it takes the reference of that object. Means instead of this copying the value, it takes only the reference of the object so that it will point it to the same memory location. But here, with the help of object cloning, you are going to copy the values of the instance member from one object into another object without using any reference. So if you want to implement the concept of object cloning, we have to use the interface as clonable interface. Means we have to implement the clonable we have to implement from the interface clonable, which must to override the method clone method. So if the clone method is not supported, then it shows the error message that clone not supported exception. Okay, so before going to we can going to explain the concept of this this concept of object cloning with the help of one simple example. Here, just I'm going to take a class a point which represents for two-dimensional objects. So it consists of the two coordinate that is called x1 y coordinate. So the value of this x1 y coordinate is represented by using initialized by using parameterized constructor. We have to, if you want, we can use any different type of initialization method we can use. But for this example, just I selected to use parameterized constructor for initialization. And just I used one method to display the value of this x and y coordinate in two-dimensional point format. Just I'm going to create a single dimension, I'm going to create a single point of entry. So that is called main function. It takes a one command line arguments. So now I'm going to create an object for a point objects. So P1 equal to new point. Here I'm going to define some values. So now we know that it's automatically pointed to this object. So now next one is I'm going to call the method p1.display to display the values. I'm going to copy like this point p1 equal to p. Okay, but before this, just I can display whether it's worth it or not. Then I will go with copy. So just I'm going to compile. So that once the compilation is over, here just I created one object. So we know that the parameterized constructor invoked once the object is created, then automatically it invokes the parameterized constructor to copy the value. So to initialize the value for x and y, and by using the method, just I'm going to print it. So actually there is one error in a print line. So there is a spelling mistake. There is a print ln. So print after printing, it go for the next line. Next I'm going to compile once again after rectification of that error. So no error. So then I'm going to run the program. So it will display that's a 93,45. Okay. So what I need to do is just I'm going to make, I'm going to use a equal operator, try to clone it. So for example, P2 equal to P1, and I'm going to say P2 dot display. I'm just going to invoke P2 dot display method. So then I'm going to compile. So we know that whenever you are going to assign one object into another object, it will only point to the references only. So that if you are changing some values, for example, I'm saying that the value of p2 dot x equal to 10 and p2 dot y equal to -2. So like that now it changed, and I'm trying to invoke the method display. For both the objects. So normally whenever you are going to assign one object into another object, always it takes only the reference of the concept. So here what will happen is, so if you are changing any one of the object, automatically it will be reflected on the reference also, because it will both of them point to the same memory location. So that this is the value in a P1 after modification, this is the value of a P2 after modification. So from that you can clearly indicate that. So if you are using the concept of your assignment operation to assign one object into another object, for this line. So if you are assigning one object into another object, it takes only the reference. It takes the value of a reference, not copy the value. So that both objects point out to the same value, not copy the instance values. So this is not a basic choices to copy the instance value from one object into another object. So because here both are pointed in the same reference, so that if you are changing the value of any one object, automatically it will reflect on the original object also, means in both the object also. So that so here means, but in some situation I need only the copy of the value, but we not means no need to point to the same memory location. So for that situation, we can go with the concept of cloning. So instead of that, I'm going to go with this. Just I'm going to hide this. Okay, so just I'm going to call p1 dot clone. Clone is a method for cloning the entire instance value of your object. Alright, so if you want to implement a clone, so that there is an interface need to be implemented. So implements, there is an interface, clonable, Neable. So clonable, it is a means interface name. So there is a method need to be overridden. That a method name is called as clone method. So that the return type of that method is object. It is a predefined class. So then I'm going to means implement the method clone, and it handles the exception. It is means not supported, means a clone not supported exception. It is a predefined class. Not supported exception. So here all the basic methods is implemented. So that just I'm going to return the concept of super dot clone method. So that automatically whatever the property we have, so that method is already implemented just to make a clone. So that here just okay, now it's implemented. So just further we need a lang packages. We know the lang is a default package here, so that doesn't make any error message. Actually there is a error message will be shown for incompatible type. That means that we cannot able to convert object into point type, so that we need an explicit type conversion in the assignment places. So that we need point object to work on that. So that so what I'm going to compile. So that once I'm going to compile the program. So still means that yeah. So the function is calling from the main function. So that the main function also must to handle the exception. So that just I'm going to use the throw means not founded exception here, or otherwise I can use the base classes exception class. It is a base classes for all type of exception, so that it will handle everything. Or otherwise we can define clone not supported exception for these cases also, so it will work. So now just I'm going to compile. No errors. Then I'm going to run it. 293,45. So automatically the copy is taken place. So now I'm going to try to change the value of this P2. And I'm trying to display the value for P1 and P2. So if I'm using equal operator instead of this a clone property, that means to only to take the reference, so that whatever changes needed on the P2, it is also reflected on P1 also. But now you can try it now. See that the P1 is not changed, but the P2 is changed. So then here only the reference only will take place. But if you are means if you copy only the reference, so that whatever you need to change, it will reflect on both the object. But here we are by using a clone, just we are going to copy the instance value rather than that for reference. So that whatever we change on a P2 should not reflect that, because the clone property, the clone method just to copy the instance value, not for it copies only the instance value, not for what did you say? Does not it means not for reference. Even we can able to do it as our own method. For example, I can do the same thing for our own method. For example, I want to copy the value from P2 to someone or some other objects. So that point P3. So this is also possible. That is a default method. Even we can implement our own method also. There is a copy. So just I'm going to say, so public. So that I'm going to return as an object. So point copy. So here I need to create a one temporary object. So that I'm going to create a temporary object t equal to new point. I'm going to initialize 0, 0. So now I'm going to copy. So t dot x equal to current value of x and t dot y equal to the current value of y, then the object will be returned. It means that just I'm going to copy the current instance value into, means the current instance value into the object and it will be returned. Now it will be stored in P3 so that you can try to, you know, the current object for this category is a P2 for this case. So that now I can display the value of P2 and P3. Even if you want, we can do it manual also, but if you are doing a manual code like this, so the length of the code is so high, so by using a clone, we have to reduce the length of the code. So even I'm going to change the value of P3. For example, I'm trying to change the value for P3 after this statement. So for example, P3 dot x equal to 100 and P3 dot y equal to 200. Like that I changed. So now I'm going to display the value of P2 and P3. Now we have to test it whether it's, now we have to check, check the output of the program. So manual copy also we implemented, but if you are doing a manual copy, so see that this is for first copy, but this is for after copy, the result of the copy operation. So that means after updation, the value of the P3 is changed, but the P2 is not affected because we are manually copying the value of the instance variable from one object into another objects. So, so if you are using this your own method of this copy, the time taken to performance, the length of this code is so high. So for that we can use, in order to reduce the length of the code, we can prefer to go clone method for making a clone of your object. Just to clone means that it takes only the copy. It will take only the copy, but so that if there is any change in that original object, it will not reflect on the cloned object also. Or if any changes on clone object, it does not reflect, it means not possible to reflect in original object also. Thank you.